came up with information, came up with a list of different places to go. That's how quick and easy it is to find this kind of information with AI if you ask the right questions and you get to the right sites. So do you think I'm going to jump back to California after we get rid of this property? No way. I'm never going back to California. You know? And for people that say, well, that's great, Dan, but you know, I'm 40, we've got 3 kids, we probably won't be able to go out there until I'm retired or whatever. Well, what can you do between now and then? If you're in the right place, you could be generating cash flow from very low-end things that you put on there. Like if you just put a container, a shipping container with an awning and a place for them to park their RV. We had one person that I got from Los Angeles said, Dan, my rent space for the RV park I'm in is going up to $1,800 a month. You don't think they're going to pay $300, $400, $500 for offering them a place to park with some of that in place that cost you like practically nothing? They are. Now, whether you do it in California or not is a whole other story. Okay? So, you know, if you just sat down and did some simple questions to AI and said, okay, if I bought 2 acres or 5 acres for $2,000 and I sold it for $25,000, what would be my return on investment? And how does that compare to the stock market, to real estate fixing and flipping, whatever? You're going to sit there and go, really? That's too easy. Let me show you something here. Oops. Let's go back to, let's see here. Come on, 5 acres. It's big. Let's go to SB RIA. Let's go back here. That. Let's go down here to presentation. Okay, let's come over here and take a look at, let me just show you Jack Bosch here for a minute. And you're going to go, what? Computing, NHBig, SB RIA. Oh, SB RIA. Okay. Let's go that back and take a look at Santa Barbara RIA. Let's go over to education. So this is Jack Bosch. What do you look like? And these are the videos that I did from 2010. And I think it says there someplace 2010. Yep, 2010. And if we take a look at a video, okay, we'll just do that real quick. Hit set up. There I am, 2010.
Well, okay, my name is Jack Bosch, and I'm very excited to be here. Yes, I will share with you something completely different today. Something that, let me ask you, who has not heard of me so far?
Okay, so he was all about vacant land back then. I should have stuck with him right through this whole thing. Here's Jack Bosch today.
Welcome to my channel. My name is Jack Bosch and I'm originally from Germany. I came here in 1997 to finish my college degree, then very quickly realized that a job was not the right thing. So since the year 2003, my wife and I have been full-time real estate investors. We built an 8-figure land flipping business, we built a 9-figure multifamily business, we built an 8-figure coaching business, and we built a large network, and we really learned and mastered the principles and the lessons of financial literacy and financial abundance. So now it's time to give back. So in this channel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the exact details of how to flip land from anywhere in the world, how to pick up pieces of land for literally 10 or 20 cents on the dollar, and then either sell them wholesale for 50, 60 cents on the dollar and make tens of thousands of dollars of profits in the middle, or how to even better sell them at full market value with seller financing and get cash flow from land. Now also we're going to share
Seller financing and cash flow. So the amount of profit you make with a sales price plus the seller financing is pretty good. And the beauty is it's constant income. The New Mexico property I sold about a year back, I never hear from the guy. He just keeps sending the money in, him and his partner. They just keep sending the money in every month. And once in a great while we get together and I text him and find out what's going on. He goes, yeah, things were getting so tough for me to make a living in New Mexico. I'm in Georgia or Alabama or someplace working on a year contract. And I said, well, what does that mean for the property? You want to drop it? You want to keep it? What are you going to do? He goes, oh, no, that's my retirement. I'm definitely not giving that up. That's a 30-acre parcel in an HOA. The last thing I want, that was the other thing. I asked the person, are these properties you have in an HOA? No. You don't want an HOA. You don't want restrictions. You want enough land so that you can actually do something with it and generate income. And he's just like, yeah, no, everything's cool, we're good, you know. That's the difference between being a bank and working with a property owner as opposed to being a landlord and working with a tenant. Totally different. It is so uplifting. It makes the business feel so good that you just go, I love this. My wife did not want to get back into rental properties. She quit being a nurse and said, I'll be working in the real estate business with you. And I said, well, what part do you want to work in? She said, I can do all the accounting. And I said, do you realize that accounting is managing debt? And what I do is creating wealth? She said, yeah, well, so. I said, managing debt is depressing. You know how difficult that can be. Creating wealth is like doing what we're doing right now. It's out running around talking to people, having a good time. It's light, it's easy. But you do have to manage debt because before she retired, I was doing all of that stuff. And she goes, I don't know how you did it all. I don't know how you deal with those tenants. I just want to not do that anymore. I said, okay, well, you know, we changed. Doing the land is way different. Okay? We've got just a little bit of time here left for me to show you a little bit about the Personal Power Project. I know you guys are probably going, okay, Dan. My daughter got married about a year back or two. I went to the wedding. She said, Dad, we're going to have a few people speak, like his parents and our parents, but when you get up there, will you do me a favor? Don't go on and on and on, please. Toward the end of what I was saying, she's like this. Okay, okay. But that's the difference between creating wealth and managing debt. You've got to do both. You cannot just, and there's a lot of, I just signed up, 6 months back, or 8 months back when I wanted to sell the property in New Mexico and went, what am I doing wrong? Here's $5,000, Jack Bosch, to your coaches. I want to talk to them and find out what's going on. I got on a meeting with 30 other people. That was a national meeting. He's in Florida, not Jack Bosch, but his coach. And he goes, does anybody have any questions? And I said, yeah, I do. He goes, well, what do you want? And I said, I want you to tell me what I'm doing wrong with this property out in New Mexico. He goes, okay. He says, but you got to understand, you might not like what I have to say to you. I said, that's why I paid $5,000. Tell me how stupid I am. I don't care. I'm not embarrassed. I'm here to, move on, make something work. He looks at it, he compares it to everything he sees, and he goes, Dan, you're selling it for like 30, I think it was 32,000. He said, there's nothing in that area selling for less than 15,000. You're never going to sell it. You need to buy really cheap and sell really cheap below the going price. And he was doing these properties in Florida that were like $1,000 tiny little parcels all next to each other. And I signed up for that, $500, put out all the stuff just like he said. I got zero feedback, nothing from any of it. I went, okay, well, I told him my plan was to do owner financing and that might shift things. Well, it did. Owner financing makes a big difference. The people that can pay cash, I had somebody on one of the Facebook places about this property now I'm trying to sell in New Mexico for whatever it was, close to 30,000, 32, whatever, say, ha ha ha, a fool and their money, you know, that you'll never get that for that. And I looked at them and I went, okay, thank you for sharing. I didn't say that to them. But opinions are like, I say opinions are like awesome. Everybody has one. When I said that at one of our previous meetings, everybody laughed and went, no, Dan, I don't think that's what they say when it comes to opinions. And I said, but hear me out. Here's the thing about opinions. If you let people have their opinion and you let them express it, you get the chance to learn things that you wouldn't even know the question to ask. So you get to learn things that you might not have ever learned. But here's the even better part. When you listen to their opinion and you begin to learn what's going on, what you understand is, I'm sticking around that person because they know something and I want to follow their lead. I can do this because we're friends. I'm going to run like hell from her. I never want to see her again because of her opinion. And that's okay. You don't need to fight with people. You don't need to win the battle and win the argument. You just need to hear what's being said and decide, do I want to stay or do I want to go? It's that simple. You don't have to. And so it's really good to listen to people's opinions. I paid $5,000 recently to get back in, and that was enough for them to say, and the guy said, well, this is what you need to do with your advertising, you need to do this. So I did a lot of what he said, and I got the price he said I would never get. I'm not saying I would get that all the time, but for me, it was worth paying the money. You don't have to go there and pay the money, because some of it can be really expensive, depending, you know. He's got a lot of AI tools that he's implementing each stage of the way. So, you know, something to think about. Let's just do one quick little thing here before it's time to get out of here with our next little thing here, which is personal power project, okay? Now you probably say, Dan, what the hell are you doing? You know, you're installing solar mounts for people? Is there no end to your ignorance about doing a million different things? Well, it's really only 3 things. And the reason that this solar power project is of interest to me, and it has been for 10, 15 years, is because when people are going to vacant land, they need to know about, well, what do I do with the power? What do I do about this? What do I do about that? And I show them. You do everything you can possibly do as cheaply as you can get. One of these ladies in Lancaster told me something, and she's 62 years old, and said, Dan, I've been in RVs for 20 years. I know how to live in RVs, and most of these people out here don't. And I said, what's the trick? And she goes, well, you know, you get onto a vacant land, and there's no sewage. The first thing they say, there's no sewage. You stick a plastic bag in the toilet, and after you shit on it, you take the plastic bag and you throw it in the trash can, just like people do with their dog shit. It's not a big deal. And I went, that's really interesting. I've never heard that story before. You do know how to live in RVs. So in any case, here's the thing about these solar panels. Normally when you see solar panels, you see them all nice and neat together, one flat thing, beautiful, you know, whatever. If you're on the side of a hill, and especially if there's a house right there, you think they want a big tractor to come in here and level the ground? No, they barely wanted the solar panels there. This is one of my neighbors. I'm putting about 10, 11, 12, 13, I'm putting about 13 solar panels in the front of our property, which is 7 acres, top of San Marcos Pass. We've already got 30 panels on the top of our roof from Tesla, and 3 Tesla power walls that are each $15,000 each, and the total was $40,000. And I got $40,000 worth of Powerwall batteries for free because there was a program going on. And when I told everybody about it, they went, that sounds like a scam. I've got to go get a loan, I've got to get all the stuff in here, and once it's inspected by the regulators of California and the utility SCE, then I get my money back, I get a check from somebody. Yeah, nobody wanted to go down on that. I said, I'll do it. I did the whole thing, and then when I was supposed to get my check back, they were kicking and dragging and yeah. And so I finally called them up and I said, hey, look, you guys are supposed to have given me a check like 3 months ago for almost $40,000, and I haven't seen it. I just want you to know something. Put this down on your records, because I know we're recording for efficiency purposes, or whatever you want to call it, that I buy and sell homes and vacant land on a national level, and I used to love property managers and hate attorneys, but now I love attorneys and hate property managers, and that's because I sue people all the time, nationwide, and I have no problem doing it because when the attorney's done, they're on their way and I don't have to live with them like I would a property manager. And I have no problem suing you guys if you don't give me that check, like now. Okay. And I had a check in 2 weeks. I don't know, maybe it was a coincidence, but in any case, on the solar panels, I designed a little, let's see, ground mount. Let's go to the ground mount here. Okay.
Good morning. Dan Ringwald here for the Personal Power Project, Solar, another project for you. And it is September 2025, and I am out here on my property. Let's take a quick look. This is early morning, Santa Barbara, 2,000 foot level, just before the sun comes up. Quick little panoramic of our home down there. I'm on the upper lot, and we've got a few things going on here. Tesla, 3 Tesla power walls back there, and our RV called the Kokomo, which we are currently powering up on this solar system that I am making for a neighbor up here in West.
Now, notice these solar mounts. I started off doing this, trying to figure out, well, if you can't get on the side of a hill, which is a really good place to put your solar panels, if they're in the right orientation and the right position, meaning that not only do they face south, but you don't have a situation where Santa Ana winds can get to the upper side, grab that and try and pull it up. You know, so there's a number of factors involved here. What do I do to build a solar mount that's really sturdy? And as I played around with this is nothing more than cheap angle iron from Home Depot, okay? And I said, what's the most strongest structure that we've seen in the world?
Triangle.
What?
Triangle. Pyramid.
Exactly, pyramid. So I said, okay, so somehow I got to figure out how to make a pyramid at the base and then do whatever else. And I played around with it and finally got to the point where it's really easy. It's like 12, 12, 12, legs coming down, and then 15 for the bottom. And this pivots so that you can move this up and down. And then you put some screws through here, and one of them's winter, which has to be like practically 50 degrees. The next one down is fall and spring, which is about 30 degrees. And then the last one down is summer, which is about 19 or 20 degrees. Does it make a big difference to move your solar panels for energy? Well, as you drive around and you see miles and miles of solar, are they moving those panels? No way. Too much labor. Labor is expensive. So what do? They have unlimited ground space and they have unlimited funds to just throw in more panels. So whatever you lose from not moving these things around, you gain by just throwing out more panels and save on the labor. You don't move them. The panels that we have on our roof, 30 of them, originally were 100 watt each, 30 panels. Then we had them replaced because they all died in the rain and it was on a lease. We never purchased it. So they came out from Tesla, and within 4 hours, in 6 guys, they had all those things replaced. But imagine if you had a 100 watt panel. Go ahead.
Yeah. Have you ever tried to plug back into the grid and sell electricity back to?
We're doing that.
Yeah. How does that work?
It works pretty good, or at least it used to, until regulations came along and all the utility companies went, okay, what's the new game plan? You know, I call him Gabby Newscam. What's the new plan here? And he takes people that were on some regulatory thing, well, actually they were in the utility companies, hired as employees, moved them in as appointed officials for his utility commissions, whatever, for California, and then he says, okay, now here's how we're gonna make some money. And you don't have a choice in this because you're working for me, and you gotta make this happen, and utility companies have to bow down to me. We had net metering 1, which fed it back. We had net metering 2, which fed it back one-on-one. Let's make net metering 3. For every kilowatt that we give them, when they give us a kilowatt back, it's not going to be an even exchange. If it was an even exchange, you would owe them nothing on that 1 kilowatt if you gave 1 back. Now they say, let's give them back 0.05 or whatever it is, kilowatt. When we give them 1 and they give us 1 back, we're only giving them the money for 0.05 kilowatt or whatever it is.
Are there limits to how much you can produce?
And there are limits about how much you can produce and how much you can get. Yes, I mean, all that stuff is limited, okay?
How much can you produce?
Well, when that happened, I don't know if it was 80%, but it was a huge number of contractors that did solar in California that filed bankruptcy and went out of business. Huge amount. Because nobody wanted to put solar in if they were going to get that credit back. Okay? What people don't understand is, who cares? They're never going to give you what you want. So your job, no matter what it is, and we're still on net metering 2. We were on 1, but they forced us to 2 when we got the battery upgrade.
What does that mean?
Net metering 1 was an exchange, but gave you more or whatever. Net metering 2 was still 1-to-1 exchange, but gave you less. I think it reduced you to, after you're off of your lease,
Deal that the power company gives you.
you're dealing with power company, trying to get things back. You know, they just said, basically, we're out to screw everybody in California when it comes to solar and net metering and all that stuff. And so, you know, we were 100% off grid when we first got our installation. And I said, wow, this is so great. Let's just get rid of all this propane. We're spending, you know, $400 a month, which was $4,000, $5,000 a year in propane to heat the house, heat the water, do all this stuff with propane. And then on our electricity, we're paying $400 a month, you know, for electricity. So let's get the solar. That $400 and $400 a month is $800. That was 14, 15 years ago. The price has doubled and tripled since then. So if we were basically paying 4 and 4, 8, that's 8,000. So say, you know, 9, pushing 10,000. We're in a 4,000 square foot home. We got a lot of stuff going on, which is different. The average in the United States is about 30 kilowatts per home for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Not in California. Let's go and just go all electric. So we went all electric, and we got rid of our gas heater for heating the water for showers and washing, drying, all that stuff. And we do use wood in the wintertime when it's really cold, because on 7 acres in the mountains of Santa Barbara, you've got people giving you wood all day long, saying, here, just please go to our property, we've got it all cut up, just take it home and split it, and you know, it's yours for free, whatever. But we've also got, and I've got it on this site, far infrared heating. And I asked, does anybody know what far infrared heating is? Is there anybody here that knows what it is? Okay. If you lived in England or lived in China, you'd go, well, it's what everybody uses. Yeah, duh. But in the United States, it's kind of like, all we have to do is go kill people for more oil. Who cares about trying to conserve and, you know, do far infrared heating? Far infrared heating, if you look at my site there, is something that emits out like the sun, okay? When you put a panel up in front of you that's 2 feet by 2 feet, 3 or 4, whatever it is, you immediately feel heat on your body, just like the sun. When you walk out of the house and stand in the sun, you feel that. It does not heat this up here. Propane starts up there and slowly works its way down, especially if you have some fans trying to circulate that and move it around. So you have this huge waste.
I gotta get going, I'm gonna pick up my kids.
Okay.
But thank you so much for having me.
You got it. I look forward to doing some business with you and helping you out.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yes, yes.
Alex,
Alex, yeah.
Yeah,
No, you got 5 minutes.
5 minutes, I'll shut this down, but it's all there, go back and look at it.
definitely I will. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet all of you.
Thank you so much, we'll do it again.
Yeah, take care.
One last question. When you buy a panel like this, what's the ROI on the panel like this? If you take in the cost of the panel and then you sell back the electricity to the.
Well, first of all, the last thing you wanna do is try to make money selling it back, okay?
Let's say you were to try.
Okay, if you're gonna try, I think I did an AI search and they said the most that they'll let you allow, and what's average nationwide is maybe 1,200 a year, but I can't quote that for real. It's not that much, it's not even worth worrying about when you see how expensive things are gonna get.
So have you, is there a way to do this commercially, where you're not doing it kind of at your property, but you're trying to like build one of those vacant lots, for example?
Let me show you the most
You can't do
ingenious
that, really.
commercial solar you're ever gonna see or
Yeah.
hear about, and it's just come out in Australia in the last year. Imagine that you have solar panels that are stacked up side by side like that, okay? And they're inside, they get delivered to your property in a shipping container, okay? It comes out of the shipping container and goes on the flat ground where you have it all ready for the solar panels. And then what happens is these solar panels are all hooked together and start unfolding until you get like 50 solar panels wide across a track, and there's no screws, there's no bolts, there's no technicians to put it together. The cost of installing it is nothing. You immediately have like 50 solar panels, and imagine if they were like what we're installing, they're 600 watt. Here's the thing. When you get to the point where you've got a 1,000 watt solar panel and you're going, well, what will that be, Dan? Guess what they've got in China right now? Electric cars that'll drive 1,000 miles on a single charge in like 10 minutes. Okay? So when you've got that kind of solar and you've got a rough, geography like a hill front, you could put up 10 panels at 1,000 each, and you've got 10,000 kilowatts of power.
But I guess what I'm trying to understand here is that this is mostly to offset your personal utility. It's hard to get. It sounds like it's very hard to get any type of
Money from them.
commercial operation where you can produce solar power.
Scale up to a commercial or to a community level?
Yeah. Yeah, well, here's the thing to be looking
It's
for.
very difficult from a regulation perspective.
Here's the thing to be looking for.
Mhm.
Right now, you're dealing with utility companies and some special utility companies for commercial that will give them a higher rate than a residential. But here's what you're really looking at. You're looking at a worldwide utility company who serves the whole world and gives you a rate so good that it puts all of the utility companies out of business. And guess who it is?
The solar panel company.
Tesla.
Sure.
Right now, their biggest profit that they're making worldwide are having these, which look like containers, shipping containers, but they're probably special built, packed full of batteries. And those batteries are powering hundreds of thousands of homes per day in countries all over the world. Okay? What they found out recently that AI is a big problem on planet Earth. And the reason AI is a big problem on planet Earth is because those facilities that do the AI and that power the AI and that take the cooling for cooling AI and all that stuff are so expensive and so detrimental to the environment. And the worst part is the amount of AI that we're moving toward and the amount that we need